the UFC is back with the oil money. We have got UFC Fight Night Robert Whittaker versus Reinier De Ridder taking place at the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi this weekend. And I'm going to be predicting and breaking down all of the best fights on this card and also giving out my fight card awards. So without further ado, let's kick it off with the first fight of Almabayev versus Jose Ochoa. So we've got Jose Ochoa coming in on semi-short notice to replace Khamzat Chimaev. And for Almabayev, Jose Ochoa is a beast, but he does not want to be fighting Khamzat Chimaev. Honestly, that guy is a freak of nature and a bit of a juicer. So this matchup is what we got now, and it's honestly a really, really fun matchup. Jose Ochoa, this guy is really just bursting onto the scene. He fought Lonnie Kavanagh. He did lose to him, which was a fantastic fight. And then he goes against Cody Durden and wipes him out at the start of the second round pretty badly. He's a dangerous southpaw, has got power in his hands. And I will say, him being the favorite here, I don't know if I agree with it fully. I honestly think that this could be a pick'em because Ochoa is extremely dangerous on the feet. Don't get me wrong, but Almabayev, I think there's a lot of negativity shrouding him from his loss to Manel Kape. Firstly, against Manel Kape, he did get eye poked a fair bit and did lose, but there's no excuse there. Almabayev was never winning against Manel Kape in that fight. And Manel Kape is a very technical boxer. Might not have as much clean-cut power as Jose Ochoa, but Jose Ochoa is not as technical as a Manel Kape. So that's where I think it should be at least a pick'em here. Not exactly a favorite either way. But when we have got Almabayev, this guy coming through, he is top 15 proven. He has got great wrestling, a very, very aggressive wrestler. He's got good BJJ as well, and he's fought better competition than Ochoa overall. Almabayev's fairly seasoned in the UFC now. He's had 4 or 5 fights. Jose Ochoa's only had 2. And Almabayev, the guy has got some pretty sneaky striking. He's got good kicks, and he's also got a low absorption rate because he literally just takes his opponents down pretty much instantly, unless it's Manel Kape. So he throws a pretty low output, less than 2 strikes per minute, but he's got probably like the highest takedown rate in that bloody flyweight division. He's got like 4 to 5 takedowns per 15 minutes. And he has got the stamina to do it. He's got the stamina. He's got some sneaky strikes up top. And he is fighting out of orthodox, which is a little bit scary against Ochoa because of the lead hand fight. And Ochoa is definitely fast with those hands. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage as well. He's got the KO power there too. He's 7-0 with KOs. But a thing I will say with Ochoa, we haven't seen a lot of him, and I will say, I mean, the takedown defense is a little bit sus. I know Cody Durden, he's just an American pedigree wrestler. He's a guy that is good with his actual wrestling, and he was able to get Ochoa down before getting his head bloody decapitated. That translating to Almabayev. Almabayev has a lower center of gravity here. He's a lot shorter, very fast at getting to the hips and getting the takedown. And Cody Durden was able to get a single leg and I believe a double leg in there against Ochoa within the first round. If Almabayev is able to do that early, especially with his chain wrestling and his ability to just transition on the ground with his grappling, I think he can really drain out the cardio of Jose Ochoa through that first round. And if he's doing that, I think he's going to be able to win here, and I think he's going to be able to win by a decision. Now, I do believe Ochoa, if he's getting off quick in that first round, he has a chance to take Almabayev out in that first round. Do not get me wrong, but I do think that Asu is definitely going to be playing it safe here. He's really going to be thinking about that fight he had Manel Kape, and he's like, I need to go to what is my absolute strength and what has got me into the top 10 now, and that is his wrestling. He's like, I need to wrestle here, get Ochoa to the ground, nullify that striking from southpaw, especially that straight left and that lead right hook that he has. Very dangerous, and that's where Almabayev, I believe, is going to make the smart decision here, get this to the ground quick, early against Ochoa, drain him out through the first round, and then I think in the second or the third, Ochoa is going to have a bit of a swing, and I think he's going to catch Almabayev with some decent shots, but I think Almabayev is going to grind it out and get a 29-28 decision here. He's going to take the first round, and I think he's going to take the third round. I think Ochoa is going to land some clean shots in the second, but I don't think it'll be enough, and I'm going to take Almabayev here, and if I'm taking Almabayev, I've got to give him my upset of the night award, even though it's the tiniest bit with those odds. But that's kind of a tell that I'm not really picking many underdogs on this card. So I've got to pick the underdog Almabayev for a little bit of plus money here. Moving up the card to Amanda Ribas versus Tabatha Ricci. Now, these two girls, pretty active. I mean, pretty popular within their divisions. I mean, Ribas, we know, strawweight to flyweight. She's moving up and down all the bloody time. But that's a good thing for her as well because she is just experienced. She's had very, very good experience. She's very gritty. She's got high activity. Tabatha Ricci, I mean, people like her for certain reasons, we know that. But I will say in this fight, her clinch-based game is very important here. She's going to be stronger than Ribas, I do believe, in those clinch-based exchanges, and she needs to get it in those clinch-based exchanges because Amanda Ribas is a better overall striker, especially at range with a 5-inch reach advantage. 66 inches versus 61 inches. Ribas has got the better jiu-jitsu overall as well, I do believe. She's just a bit transitionally better on the ground. Ricci, I do really like her judo, but Ribas at the same time, Ribas has judo on her side too, and she actually lands over half of the takedowns she attempts. So Ribas is actually more successful with her judo-based game in MMA compared to Tabatha Ricci, who does not get, I don't think it's anywhere close to half of her judo takedowns or throws compared to Ribas. And I think Ribas has just got that success there. And with those kicks, especially at range, with the reach that she has with her arms, I think that she's going to be doing a very good job along the outside in this fight, as well as honestly pressing too. I think if Ricci can keep this to boxing at most to then clinch range and really grind Ribas out against the cage, then Ricci can win this fight. And I think that she's going to be able to do that a fair bit in this fight. But I've got to go with Ribas by a split decision here. I think Ribas just has more tools on the feet. She's just got better striking realistically, especially with those head kicks she's got, spinning heel kicks. She's more successful judo. If one of them's taking each other down, realistically it will be Ribas that's going to take Ricci down. And I think she's got better jiu-jitsu. I just do think Amanda Ribas is the better fighter here, but she will struggle in that clinch-based exchange if they get there. So that's where I've got to give Ribas the win, but I think it's going to be a split decision. I think Ricci is going to get a lot of control time, similar to what she did against Tisha Pennington. I think she's going to get a fair bit of control time there, but Ribas, I think along the outside and on the ground, I think she's got the tools to get this one done. Moving up the card to Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. Now, Nikita Krylov, my guy is coming off a brutal Dom Reyes resurgence. Got absolutely fucking flatlined in his last fight. So he's got to come back and see how that mentality is, because he has only finished once by KO TKO before that, and he's had a long career, 40 fights, and that literally happened at that time in his prime age range. Really sucks ass for him. But honestly, Krylov, if he's on his game, he's clearly dangerous. He's got 28 finishes out of 30 wins here. Very, very big finishing threat, obviously. Has got the ground game advantage here. Submission-based advantage. Granted, his chin's compromised, so Guskov, he's got decent boxing. Isn't the fastest, though. I do like Krylov more so, especially in that bladed stance with the karate base he does have. He's a bit better at going in and out on a linear axis, and Guskov doesn't really have a lateral axis there. Guskov is good on that linear axis, but he's not as fast, and that's where I like Krylov more here. And he actually, somehow, Krylov absorbs less strikes overall, but he does have that poor head movement. And all it could take is Guskov landing a nice 2, because Guskov has got a really, really nice power right hand, and he could just honestly set Krylov spiraling, kind of like Dom Reyes was beforehand. So there is that chance for Guskov. But Guskov is less experienced. Granted, he's got the boxing there, he's got the power there, but Krylov, he's got the power. Krylov has got the ground game as well. He is more well-rounded, he's more experienced, and I think, honestly, coming off that Dom Reyes loss, I don't think he wants to fuck around here. I think he wants to get it to the ground, and I think he will be able to hunt a submission early if he does get Guskov to the ground. And Guskov against Elekana was coming in on a week's notice. Elekana got him down and held him for 4 minutes in that first round. It just was not impressive from Guskov until Guskov was able to reverse the position and almost choke him out, and then get him out of there in the second round. That's against a guy that's on a week's notice, not against a Krylov that, granted, is compromised, but Krylov, man, the guy is so experienced, got a lot of finishing potential, a lot more than Elekana, and I think that that's where he's going to be able to get it done. I believe end of the first round, rear naked choke finish here for him. Now, moving up the card to Ibo Aslan versus Billy Elekana, as we were just talking about. And, I mean, we kind of know Ibo Aslan here. If you don't, he's a pretty simple guy to understand. He's got a massive KO threat, 14-0 with KOs, 14 wins. The guy has a 100% finish rate, but he does have a weaker ground game. He got submitted in his last fight, in that last matchup against Ion Cutelaba, and that's where Aslan, I mean, that wrestling, that defense is potentially compromised there. And Elekana, in that first round, was able to get Bogdan Guskov down and almost submit him. So Elekana as well, not coming in on short notice here. He's got a full camp, you know, he's much more well adjusted for this fight. And that's where I don't think Elekana should be a 3-1 dog here. I do believe Aslan should be the favorite here because he is just a freak of nature when it comes to that power, and Elekana just isn't seasoned enough in the UFC. But I do think it's a little bit disrespectful to Elekana because he does have good movement. He's got the stronger ground game, and this will be takedown dependent. Can he get it? Honestly, stats and footage, we just don't know. It's really a difficult one to pick, and it's kind of a little bit tricky for the actual bet slips here, because if Elekana can get Aslan down early, Aslan can be in a lot of trouble. And I mean, with Elekana on a full camp, we don't know what he's exactly capable of. But Ibo Aslan on the other side, he is more seasoned. He has got that power there. And I've just got to say, honestly, I can't go against an Ibo Aslan KO TKO here. Elekana does have good movement, but I think Ibo Aslan, honestly, I think he's going to be drilling that takedown defense because he knows that, honestly, he knows that that's the only way that Elekana is going to be winning this fight. So Aslan drilling that takedown defense, if he's got that on lock, I just don't see Elekana having a way of beating him unless he's fighting at range. Elekana's got a shorter reach as well. It's just not looking good there. So Ibo Aslan, end of the first round, KO finish. Moving on to Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty, the earth is fucking flat. Moving down to bantamweight, about to come out here and get a Nurmagomedov scalp. He has dropped down to bantamweight for that first time in 10 years. And honestly, I just don't think he's going to get it done. I mean, honestly, it's not anything to do really with Bryce moving down to bantamweight and, you know, having that chin compromise and everything like that. It's not that. It's just that Saeed Nurmagomedov is a very good fighter here. I think this is just not the greatest matchup for Bryce Mitchell to be taking to go down to bantamweight. This is one of the toughest ones he could have had. Literally the toughest outside of the rankings for him, because Saeed Nurmagomedov can compete with Bryce Mitchell's grappling. And on the feet, Bryce, don't get me wrong, good strike accuracy, decent strike defense as well. Don't tell Josh Emmett that, but he's actually got decent stats in the striking overall. Higher accuracy. He does have a decent foundation there. Good, just basic foundation, decent jab. But Saeed Nurmagomedov is extremely explosive, very dynamic with his like taekwondo kind of style. Good spinning kicks. Saeed Nurmagomedov took Vinicius Oliveira to a very competitive, obviously decision loss, but it was a very competitive fight against Vinicius Oliveira. And Vinicius Oliveira is a beast. Yeah, Saeed Nurmagomedov is top 15 worthy. He's just had... He was pretty unlucky in that Vinicius Oliveira fight, I do think. I don't think he should have won, but it was extremely close. So, Bryce Mitchell in this, I will say, he's got the strength, 5'10", he's the bigger guy, he's got the wrestling there, and that should be more imposed moving down to bantamweight. However, getting taken out by Josh Emmett, and also, guys like Ilia Topuria and Gene Silver as well, granted they weren't submissions, but his chin is compromised to an extent. You're never going to fully come back from a Josh Emmett KO like that. And Bryce cutting down in weight, if he's getting tagged by some form of kick of Saeed Nurmagomedov, which I think he will, he's going to get taken out here. Taken out pretty badly, I do believe. I think Saeed and Bryce are going to have a pretty back and forth fight when it comes to the grappling and clinch-based exchanges. When it comes to that first round, I think coming out of the gates in the second, I think Saeed is just going to unleash on Bryce. Because Saeed, a big thing in the Vinicius Oliveira fight is that he was waning in that third round. His cardio was just kind of just losing him, to be honest. It was failing him. So I think that Saeed doesn't want to take chances against Bryce Mitchell here, especially with that wrestling pedigree that Bryce has. And I think that he's going to try his best to take out Bryce in the second round. I think it's going to be some form of head kick, drop him, and then I think TKO him out, ground and pound finish in that second round. He's too dynamic, man. I think he's too dynamic for Bryce Mitchell, especially a chin compromise, one that's cutting down in weight for the first time in 10 years. I mean, Bryce is a guy that's fought at featherweight and lightweight, and he hasn't fought in bantamweight since literally he was 20 years old. So I think this one, honestly, he's not the oldest, but I still think it could catch up with him a little bit here. But yeah, Saeed, I just don't see him losing this fight. Very flexible within his striking. He absorbs more strikes, but his takedown defense is better than Bryce Mitchell's overall. His takedown defense is extremely impressive against stronger opposition as well. Just with that finishing ability, I'm sorry, Bryce Mitchell, you're getting taken out. Now moving up the card to Petr Yan versus Marcus McGhee. Very good fight, very keen for it. I mean, respect to Petr Yan. Guy's the GOAT, you know, taking on Marcus McGhee here. Doesn't have to, and he's done that before against Sean O'Malley and lost that by a split decision. So Yan, by doing this, if he's beating a guy that's ranked at that position, if he wins this, it guarantees him a title fight. That's just how these things have to work here. Otherwise, we riot, because that's bullshit. Petr Yan is on a good win streak at the moment. He's beaten Song. He's beaten Figueiredo. He's looking good. He's looking his old championship self. Even kind of better, to be honest. He's just looking really, really good. And Marcus McGhee, he's not a guy that really messes around. This guy has got good boxing. There's a reason why he's getting this top 5 opportunity. He is definitely a power puncher. Has got the 2-inch reach advantage here as well, and has got some good strike defense on him. But Petr Yan, we know the guy has got some good strike defense and fantastic timing on his strikes. Aside from Yan being a slow starter, which I think McGhee can capitalize on to win a round, I think rounds 2 and 3 are all Yan's, to be honest. McGee's not getting any younger. He's 35 years old, and Petr Yan has got a wealth more of experience, and he's got the trip timing, the trips. Petr Yan being able to just drag his opposition to the ground, getting outside trips, inside trips. We saw what he did against Figgy, just sent him flying. And if Marcus McGhee is not getting Yan out of there in the first round, I think that's when Yan's momentum is really going to carry through in those close quarter boxing exchanges and taking McGhee down. And if McGee's on the ground and Yan's controlling him there, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see a Yan submission in this fight. Just a hot take here, because if Yan's really imposing his will from the start of that second round and finding success with takedowns, it's not looking good for McGhee. But at the same time, Yan being a slow starter, he's got to be careful of McGee's boxing here. Even though Yan's so good with his strike defense, never looked really close to being knocked out ever in his career, he's still got to be careful. But with that being said, I'm going to go with a pretty clear Petr Yan decision win here. I think it's going to be a 29-28, but I think McGhee is going to put up a great fight within that first round. I think there's going to be a lot of awesome boxing exchanges here, just a lot of change of pace, and that's where I've got to give this the fight of the night award for these two. I think just the technical display of the boxing of McGhee and just the overall game of Yan going through 3 rounds, yeah, I think we're in for a really good fight of the night here. Now, moving on to our co-main event, we have got Shara Bullet coming back versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Shara Bullet obviously coming off that loss to MVP, and Marc-Andre Barriault coming off a resurgent win last time out. He's actually managed to get a win back, and it was a very impressive win at that as well. But coming into this, I'm sorry, brother, you being a 5-1 dog pretty much just really does make sense, because Shara Bullet's got all the tools here that is going to be a nightmare for Barriault, bar the ground game. Obviously, Shara Magomedov doesn't have a ground game, but Bullet, the guy's got the fluidity and the striking. He's faster, he's more dynamic, he's got the speed advantage, he's got a chin as well, which Barriault's chin is very susceptible now, especially after the Joe Pyfer lost. Holy crap, got destroyed. But the biggest thing isn't even the chin here, it's the speed. It's the speed. Barriault is just slower. He's got power, and if there's an off chance that he can catch Shara Bullet in that first round while Shara's trying to just do something dynamic and he times it like a straight right down the pipe and just takes Magomedov out, that's the only chance I see him having, because Barriault doesn't really have any kicking game. He's more of just a straight boxer. Shara Bullet has got all the tools when it comes to kickboxing, when it comes to bloody Muay Thai, when it comes to boxing. Yeah, it's just a pretty bad matchup for Barriault, and it's just a tee up for Shara Magomedov to get back in the win column. He's going to get my Performance of the Night award here, and I think he's getting the KO TKO finish at the end of the first round, or if Barriault can survive, it's going to be the start of the second round here. Definitely the Performance of the Night for Shara Bullet in this one. Now, moving up to the main event, we have got Robert Whittaker taking over the Middle East once again. Rip Ikram Aliskerov versus Reinier De Ridder. But when we look at this fight against Reinier De Ridder, Robert Whittaker, the guy is very good for this matchup, I do think. I think he's really going to be getting back in the win column after that Chimaev loss. He's half and half when it comes to the Middle East, let's be honest here, because he got annihilated by Khamzat Chimaev. But De Ridder, he's a great grappler, don't get me wrong, but he's not a Khamzat Chimaev. Doesn't have the speed there, doesn't have that, takedown timing per se. And that's where I think if you're going against Robert Whittaker, that's really what you need to get an easier win against him, because Whittaker on the feet, the strike speed, the karate style he has, the wealth of UFC experience he has, I just think he is way too fast for Reinier De Ridder here. And he's got pretty good takedown defense too, especially against De Ridder's caliber of takedown offense. I think Whittaker's going to be able to stuff the takedowns pretty easily. Now, if it gets to the ground, I think Reinier De Ridder could submit Whittaker. I'm pretty confident there. RDR is absolutely no damn joke on the ground. He is vicious, absolutely vicious, and he has got momentum on his side at the moment. He's a grappling phenom, and he's got power in his hands. Granted, he is slower, but if Whittaker gets caught out, Whittaker's chin isn't the greatest. He can get dropped pretty easily, and if Reinier De Ridder is popping like a straight right down the pipe, honestly, well, a straight left more, sorry, it's the lead right hook which is the problem. I mean, we can ask GM3 that, but unless Reinier De Ridder's getting one of those to really check Whittaker when Whittaker's coming in with a lunging strike, I just think Whittaker's just going to outclass him on the feet here. I think we're really going to see these two feel each other out in the first round. Then I think Whittaker's going to warm up more with the striking in the second. I think De Ridder is going to try those clinch-based exchanges. Obviously, he's coming off a fantastic performance against Bo Nickal, destroying that hype train. And then with Whittaker, I honestly think moving into the third round, however, if De Ridder is not submitting him in the second, I think Whittaker, with his 5-round based experience and just the wars that he's been in, I think that cardio is going to pull through for him especially, and the speed and the striking. I just can't deny Whittaker getting a KO TKO finish here. I think he's going to get a really nice lunging 1-2. I think that 2 is just going to crunch De Ridder's chin back and drop him, and then I think Whittaker is going to let him up. And then I think he's just going to pound him out against the cage, because De Ridder is going to be so hurt. I don't think Whittaker's going to take chances on the ground there and just take him out in the third round. I think he splits him from consciousness, to be honest. Whittaker, just this stylistically, I think is a great matchup for him. And if you haven't seen my Reinier De Ridder versus the top 15 middleweights video, I'll leave that in the description below. I talk about Reinier De Ridder versus literally all of the top 15 at that time when I made that video, which is most of the guys still. But yeah, I think in this one, I mean, Whittaker was at least a tough matchup for De Ridder in that video. And Whittaker, I mean, I think he's just going to be getting that win back in style. Yeah, 1-2 down the pipe, takes him out. And I think that Whittaker, if he's doing that, especially with a comeback in the Middle East after that Chimaev loss, and with the momentum that De Ridder has at the moment, I've got to give Robert Whittaker the Finish of the Night award in this one, because
if you're derailing a hype train like De Ridder, who's a 2-time champion in another promotion, that's really just cementing the fact even more so that UFC caliber guys like Robert Whittaker are just so much better. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this prediction and breakdown video, and please let me know your predictions down below. And if you want to see more MMA-based content, there's just a video on the screen for you now. And please like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way for this channel, and I will catch you in the next one.